Hi and welcome to a new episode of your weekly medical TV show on الكرمة TV, White Coat. Today we have a different and unique episode, and we will talk about low vision. It's always a shock to learn that your vision loss cannot be regained. It is very important to recognize the anger and frustration you may feel and get help working through those feelings. It's very important to apply the strategies of vision rehabilitation to stay active, which include using low vision aids and low vision rehabilitation. According to the statistics, 2.9 million Americans have low vision, and it's expected to increase by 72% by 2030. Today also we'll talk about the Standing Voice, this great nonprofit organization, and their missionary activities in Africa to help with albinism. And it's my pleasure and honor today to host one of the outstanding optometrists in Southern California, Dr. Rebecca Kammer, to talk to us more about those topics. As you know by now, for interaction with the program, send in all your questions and concerns to our official Facebook page, White Coat Alkarma TV. Or if you have any question regarding our topic today and you wanted to interact with my guest directly today, you can call the numbers that will be shown on the screen at any time during the episode. أعزائي مشاهدي قنوات الكرمة، أعزائي مشاهدي برنامج وايت كوت، بحب أرحب بيكم في حلقة أسبوعية جديدة من برنامجنا وايت كوت. النهاردة شوية هتبقى حلقة مختلفة لأنه هنحاول نعمل فيها ميكس. الجزء الأولاني هنتكلم فيه عن منظمة غير هادفة للربح اسمها ستاندينج فويس، بتساعد كتير من الأطفال في مرض يمكن مش معروف قوي، ولكن في أطفال كتير في الشرق الأوسط بتعاني منه، مرض الالبينيزم او مرض المحاق زي ما بيسموه، لانه بيزيكلي الاطفال دي او الناس دي بشكل عام بتعاني من عدم وجود الميلانين بيجمنت او صبغه الميلانين في جلدهم. فزي ما احنا بنقول بيبقوا بيض جدا، جسمهم كله ابيض بلا صبغات. مش بس بيأثر على جسمهم، ولكن بيأثر على صبغات العين، بيأثر على نظرهم بشكل كبير جدا. في الجزء الثاني أو الجزء الأكبر من برنامجنا النهاردة هنتكلم على ضعف الإبصار عند الكبار، وهنتكلم إيه أسباب ضعف الإبصار. النهاردة يمكن هتبقى حلقة زي ما بنسميها سكرينينج، بس هنتكلم إيه على أسباب ضعف الإبصار، إيه قد تكون احتمالاته، وبعدين بعد كده هنعمل سلسلة حلقات كاملة عن ضعف الإبصار، هنتكلم على كل نوع من الأمراض دي على حدة مع حضراتكم. هنتكلم على طرق العلاج بالتفصيل لكل نوع من أنواع الأمراض دي. طبعا بيسعدني ويشرفني النهاردة أن يكون معايا واحدة من الناس اللي مسؤولة عن ستاندينج فويس أو المنظمة اللي بتساعد الأطفال دي. هي كمان دكتورة أمراض عيون أو رمد زي ما بنسميها، واحدة من أحسن الناس اللي موجودة في جنوب كاليفورنيا بشكل عام، دكتور ريبيكا كامر. زي ما حضراتكم عارفين دلوقتي، لأي تفاعل أو أي أسئلة عن ضعف الإبصار بشكل عام تقدروا تبعتوا لنا كل أسئلتكم واستفساراتكم على صفحتنا الرئيسية على الفيسبوك وايت كوت الكرمة تي في، أو حضراتكم تقدروا تكلمونا على الأرقام اللي هتظهر على الشاشة قدامكم في أي وقت من أوقات البرنامج. إن شاء الله تكون حلقة جديدة، حلقة مختلفة. متحمس جدا إن احنا نبتدي حلقتنا النهاردة من وايت كوت. Today in Healthy Adults, we'll go over some tips that can keep your kidney functioning properly and keep him as healthy as possible at every stage of your life. And they are: number one, hydrate, but don't overdo it. It's always a good idea to drink enough water every day, but drinking more than typical 4 to 6 glasses a day probably will not help your kidney to do their job any better. Number two, eat healthy food. Try to follow healthy, moderate eating habits to control your weight and your blood pressure and preventing diabetes at the same time, to keep your kidney in a healthy condition. Also, you need to know Too much protein is not good for your kidneys. Number 3, use with caution supplements and herbal remedies. Excessive amount of certain vitamin supplements and some herbal extracts could be harmful for your kidneys. So please talk to your doctor about any vitamins or herbs that you're planning to take any soon. Number 4, quit smoking. Smoking can damage blood vessels. Yes, it's a fact, which decrease the blood flow to your kidneys. Number 5, do not overdo it when you take over-the-counter medications, specifically pain pills. Common non-prescription pills like ibuprofen, naproxen, naproxen, all the NSAIDs, the non-steroidal anti-inflammatory drugs, can cause kidney damage if it's taken regularly over a prolonged period of time. Number 6 is exercise regularly and moderately at the same time. Regular physical activity can help you to get rid of weight gain and also can help your blood pressure. Number 7, which is very, very important, if you're at high risk, get regular kidney function screening. Specifically, if you have family history of kidney disease or you're having high blood pressure or diabetes. أعزائي مشاهدي وايت كوت من البالغين، النهارده بنرجع تاني نعمل فقراتنا الرئيسية وأهمهم هي صحة البالغين. الحقيقة النهارده واحنا بنحضر الحلقة حبيت أتكلم عن حاجة مهمة جدا كتير مننا يمكن ما بيحسش بالنعمة دي قوي، ولكن هي صحة الكليتين. الكليتين واحدة من أهم أعضاء الجسم بشكل عام، والحقيقة احنا النهارده اخترنا نناقش مع حضراتكم 7 خطوات لو مشينا بيهم بنسبة كبيرة جدا هنحافظ على صحة الكليتين عندنا، وده طبعا شيء مهم جدا. رقم 1 الحقيقة هو تناول المية والسوائل بشكل كافي في اليوم من غير ما ازود الموضوع، يعني كل حاجة باعتدال بتبقى كويسة جدا. والحقيقة انه كل التوصيات العلمية بتقول انه احنا تناول من لترين تقريبا لترين مية في اليوم بيبقى كافي جدا. احيانا الناس يعني بعض العلماء قالوا ممكن نمشيها لحد 3 لتر في اليوم، بيبقى من 2 ل 3 ده كافي جدا اثناء اليوم ان احنا نحافظ على وظائف الكلى بتاعتنا. كتير من الناس بتتخيل انه لو شربت اكتر من كده ده بيحسن وظائف الكليتين بشكل عام، لكن الحقيقه بتقول انه الابحاث العلميه كل الابحاث العلميه الجديده شرب الميه اكتر من اللزوم ما بيساعدش الكلى باي شكل من الاشكال. ده كان رقم 1. رقم 2 بالنسبه لنا وده المهم جدا طريقه الاكل، لانه مهم جدا ان احنا نركز على الاكلات المفيده للكلى بشكل عام. طيب حد هيقول ايه هي ان احنا ايه فكره الاكل والكلى بشكل عام؟ رقم 1 لازم تعرفوا حضراتكم انه اكبر عدو للكلى بشكل عام هو الملح، لانه الملح بيحبس كميات كبيره من الميه في الجسم، ما بيساعدش الكلى على انها تقوم بوظائفها بشكل جيد او بشكل يعني كما ينبغي. وكمان من الأسوأ انه زياده الملح في الاكل بتساعد انه الضغط بتاعنا يزيد، وبالتالي الضغط بتاعنا لو زاد لفترات طويله بيدمر الكلى وبيبقى مدمر ليها. فطريقه الاكل مهمه جدا. كمان من الحاجات المهمه في طريقه اكلنا ان احنا ما نتناولش كميات كبيره من البروتين. يمكن تاني اكبر عدو للكلى بعد الاملاح هي البروتين، فتناول كميه كبيره من البروتين بشكل عام ما بيبقاش مفيد للكلى. ثالث نقطه ودي المهمه جدا السكريات، لانه طبعا السكريات بشكل عام بتساعد على ان احنا نزود معدلات اصابتنا بمرض السكر، ومرض السكر بيبقى مضر جدا جدا للكلى. فالحاجه الاولى المهمه نشرب كميات ميه كفايه، الحاجه الثانيه ناكل صح، الحاجه الثالثه والمهمه جدا انه ودي انا عايز حضراتكم تركزوا معايا فيها، ان كل اصدقائنا من اللي بيحبوا ياخدوا اعشاب طبيعيه وفيتامينات زياده، كل ده مهم جدا انه يبقى تحت اشراف طبيب. وخاصه انه في ناس بيبقى طالع في دماغها فكره اعشاب التخسيس والاعشاب اللي مش عارف بتساعد على ايه وايه. بلاش نتناول اعشاب او فيتامينات دون اشراف طبيب، لانه احيانا زياده الفيتامينات بتاثر على وظائف الكلى. كمان انه الاعشاب دي ما بتبقاش مطابقه للمواصفات العالميه واتس نوت FDA approved، فده مهم جدا انه منظمه الصحه والاغذيه تبقى موافقه على الاعشاب دي، والطبيب بتاع حضرتك او حضرتك يشوفها قبل ما نتناولها، لانه ده مهم جدا. النقطه الرابعه واللي دايما مش بنزهق ان احنا نقولها، يعني نقطه اساسيه في كل الفقرات بتاعتنا، هي الإقلاع عن التدخين. واحد هيسأل أو مشاهدة تسأل إيه فكرة التدخين ووظائف الكلى؟ التدخين بشكل عام زي ما احنا اتفقنا ان هو بيعمل نوع من انسداد الأوعية الدموية، وبالتالي قدرة الكلى على استخلاص البول من الدم بتقل جدا لأنه الأوعية الدموية دي بتتسد، وبالتالي التدخين ما بيساعدش الكلى بشكل عام على انها تقوم بوظائفها، بالاضافه انه في علاقه مباشره ما بين التدخين وسرطان الكلى، فده بيبقى شيء سيء جدا جدا جدا. النقطه الخامسه، ودي انا عايز تقريبا كل الناس اللي بتسمعنا النهارده تركز فيها جدا لانه دي نقطه مهمه جدا، عدم الاكثار من تناول المسكنات. مشكله المسكنات بشكل عام انها موجوده على الشلف، حضرتك تقدري تروحي تجيبيها من اي صيدليه، وطول ما احنا قاعدين عندنا صداع نبلبع شويه حبوب، عندنا مش عارف يعني الم في المفاصل ناخد شويه حبوب تسكن الالم، اي حاجه بناخد لها شويه حبوب. اشهرهم على الاطلاق هو كل انواع البروفين او الايبوبروفين بشكل عام، كمان نابروسين، كل حاجه اللي بنسميها الانسيدز او النون ستيرويدال انتي انفلاماتوري دراجز، دي لو اتخذت بكميات كبيره لفترات طويله بتبقى مضره جدا للكلى. برضو النقطة السادسة ودي المهم جدا، فكرة التمارين الرياضية البسيطة المعتدلة يوميا، لأنه برضو الناس عشان بتتخيل أنه لو واحد قاعد في الجيم طول النهار ممكن القعدة في الجيم دي تعمل حاجة اسمها بريك داون للعضلات وتضر الكلى. فدايما كل حاجة نعملها باعتدال، 20 دقيقة مشي في اليوم بتبقى كفاية جدا، انه ده بيساعد ان الدورة الدموية تزيد، الامداد الدموي للكلى يزيد، قدرتها على استخلاص البول تبقى افضل، وبالتالي بنحسن وظائف الكلى. النقطة السابعة ودي المهمة جدا، لو في اي تاريخ عائلي مرضي عند حضرتك او حضرتك، مهم جدا ان انت تعمل كشف دوري. مش بس تاريخ عائلي مرضي من الاب والام، ولكن لو في حاجات تانية امراض بتأثر على الكلى بشكل عام زي ارتفاع ضغط الدم، زي مرض السكر، كل ده بشكل عام بيأثر على الكلى، ولازم نعمل كشف دوري على الكلى. لو احنا اتبعنا 7 خطوات دول هيبقى صحة كليتنا افضل بكتير، وهنبقى اقل عرضة للإصابة بأمراض الكلى. Many children grow up with eating disorders, an unhealthy association with food. So the most common question, how do we help our kids to have healthy relation to food? And today in Healthy Kids, we'll discuss those tips with you to answer that question. Number one tip is, food shouldn't be used as a reward. For example, if we told our children, eat your vegetables so you can have your dessert, that clear communication to our children make him feel that vegetables should be avoided and dessert are to be desired. Number two, food should not be used as punishment either. Taking away the dessert as discipline that teach our kid dessert is the prize, which is very bad. Number three, a child forced to eat may not learn how it feels to be hungry or to be full, or how to listen to his or her body, which is very important to teach our kids those stuff. Sometimes kids are not hungry and they eat still. Do not force them to eat more than 5 bites. Number four, which is very important, when it comes to food, put your children away from your personal preference. Let them be open and willing to try everything. Number five, teaching children that holiday or celebrations is about spending time together and it's not about food. أعزائي مشاهدي قنوات الكرمة، أعزائي مشاهدي برنامج وايت كوت، الحقيقة النهاردة في صحة أطفالنا اخترنا ان احنا نناقش موضوع تقريبا كل الآباء والأمهات بيشتكي منه، فكرة الأكل عند أولادنا. والحقيقة انه فكرة الأكل مع أولادنا بترتبط بفكرة انه ازاي يبقى عندي علاقة سوية أو عادات غذائية سليمة بالنسبة لأولادنا. وده بيجي طبعا في المقام الأول دور الأب والأم هو بيبقى أهم نقطة فيه بشكل عام. حقيقة النقطة رقم 1 في الخمس نقط اللي احنا اخترنا ان احنا نناقشهم مع حضراتكم النهاردة، ان احنا ما نستخدمش الأكل كمكافأة لأطفالنا. بمعنى مثلا انه لو في كذا صنف على الأكل والطفل لازم ياكل خضار، بلاش نقول له إذا أكلت الخضار بتاعك أو خلصت طبق الخضار بتاعك هنديك حلويات كمكافأة. فكرة استخدام الحلويات بشكل عام كمكافأة بتترسخ في دماغ أو في أذهان أطفالنا انه ده شيء كويس، وده ما بيخليش العلاقه سويه بين اطفالنا والاكل بشكل عام. رقم 2 ان احنا ما ينفعش كمان نستخدم الحلويات كعقاب، اذا ما عملتش كذا مش هتاخد الحلويات بتاعتك، لانه برضه بيرسخ في دماغ الطفل انه الحلويات دي حاجه زي الجايزه او حاجه لازم يعمل حاجه عشان ياخدها، وده بيخلي العلاقه بين اطفالنا وطريقه الاكل او عادات الاكل بتاعتهم شيء بيبقى سيء جدا جدا جدا. كمان فكره ان احنا نضغط على اطفالنا عشان ياكلوا بشكل عام دي فكره مش كويسه ابدا، لانه بنخليهم ياكلوا سواء وهم جعانين او هم شبعانين. ففكره انه يتعلم يسمع لجسمه او يعرف امتى جعان وامتى شبعان وامتى اكل دي بتبوظ تماما، وبالتالي بتبوظ العلاقه بين اطفالنا بشكل عام وعاداتهم الغذائيه السليمه. رقم 4 ودي نقطه مهمه جدا، انه وانا بقدم اولادي في سن صغير للاكل اخليهم يبعدوا عن الاكلات المفضله بس بتاعتي، بمعنى انه انا اطلع نفسي بره المعادله دي تماما. مش عشان انا بفضل حاجات معينه لازم اطفالي يطلعوا ياكلوا الحاجات دي كل يوم، لا، انا بطلع البيرسونال بريفرنس بتاعي بره الموضوع واخلي اطفالي يجربوا كل الحاجات وينموا البريفرنس بتاعهم او الاكلات المفضله بتاعتهم عن طريق ان هم يجربوا كل حاجه، ومن خلال تجربه كل حاجه دي يكونوا الانطباع بتاعهم عن الاكلات المفضله بالنسبه لهم. النقطة الخامسة والمهمة جدا جدا جدا، لأنه إحنا بيترسخ في ذهننا بشكل عام في العالم كله كأب وكأم إنه الاحتفالات أو الأعياد مرتبطة بأكلات أو بأكلات معينة. الحقيقة إنه ده كمان لازم أغيره في ذهن أطفالي تماما، وأعلم أطفالي إنه الاحتفالات أو الأعياد هي مرتبطة بقضاء وقت مع بعض كأسرة، مش بفكرة الأكل. لأني دايما لو ربطت المناسبات بالأكل ده زي ما أنا قلت بيخلي العلاقة ما بين الطفل والأكل علاقة غير سوية، العادات الغذائية بتاعتهم بتبقى غلط تماما. وبالتالي لو احنا اتبعنا ال5 خطوات دول هنخلي أولادنا تبقى علاقتهم سوية بالأكل، أو بمعنى أدق ينموا عادات غذائية أفضل.
Are you tired of being overweight? Do you suffer from diabetes? Do you suffer from hypertension? Do you suffer from obstructive sleep apnea? Do you suffer from hypercholesterolemia? Have you suffered from heart attacks in the past? Strokes in the past? Are you tired of being ostracized in public? Well, I have a solution for you. Robotic bariatric surgery. This can completely change your life. I'm Dr. Bobby Bascarow. I'm a robotic bariatric surgeon. I do robotic weight loss surgery, which can completely change your life. I offer 3 different types of surgeries that can completely change your life: the sleeve gastrectomy, the lap band, and the Roux-en-Y gastric bypass. One thing that's very unique about our program in that we have a dietitian, and you will get counseled on what to eat, what not to eat, and how to optimize the utilization of your tool for good weight loss.
Hi, and welcome to the first episode of White Coat. I'm Tamer, Meshel, the host of the new show, White Coat.
And people began to drink alcohol as a social lubricant, and from there they began to misuse it, and they get so they abuse it.
Not focus so much on the chemical and think more of the brain, in other words, the person.
Behavioral interventions are crucial. What we have to recognize is a non-judgmental, loving, compassionate support.
The best way to treat addiction is to prevent it, okay? So be very mindful, be educated, work with a doctor that knows what they're prescribed.
I would hope through programs like yours, getting the word out, that people understand it's not that they're bad people, it's just that they're ill.
Take care of your sleep if you want to sleep. Go to bed at about the same time every day.
Most of our communities across the country are struggling in one way or another with drugs. It affects our level of productivity. It affects our kids in schools.
You don't want to take anybody for granted. I mean, Henry and I, for instance, when he does the dishes every night, which he loves to do for some reason, I always thank him.
We can have excellent diabetes control, and we can prevent most complications if we start early enough.
To discontinue any sugary drinks or only have 1 cup a day. Number 2, be aware of your calories.
Thank you for your overwhelming support and your wonderful interaction with White Coat.
My name is Rebecca Kammer. I go by Becky. I have 2 doctorates. One is a Doctor of Optometry degree from Southern California College of Optometry. And then a little later in life, I got a Ph.D. from Azusa Pacific University in higher education. I am an optometrist, but I've worked on learning about low vision rehabilitation. Optometry doesn't specifically have specialties, but this is a particular area that is underserved. And low vision rehabilitation is about helping people that have an eye disease that impacts both eyes and impacts vision and limits daily activities, independent activities. And my role as a doctor of optometry and low vision is to help people with resources to be able to explain their eye condition and really how to live maximally using the vision that they do have. And that might be with optical devices, it might be with other types of resources and services in the community, like occupational therapy. I got into that over 14, 15 years ago, and I've been the director of a low vision department at the College of Optometry. And then since then, I've gone into consulting in the last 3 or 4 years, and I work on clinical trials that work with inherited retinal diseases, and I work on the testing that helps to demonstrate whether a treatment is effective or not. So some creative tests, but really ways to show that someone's function or life has improved with some kind of a treatment. So it's an amazing world that I've been in the last few years. I also see patients in practice for low vision rehabilitation 1 day a week. I'm moving from private practice to UCI, Gavin Herbert Eye Institute, to start a low vision rehabilitation department there 1 day a week. Other things that I love to do, I got involved in a project in Africa about 8 years ago with people with albinism. And they have visual impairment, but they're treated very poorly due to their white skin in African dark country, and it's just very misunderstood. So I've been working on developing a low vision program there for the last 8 years with a nonprofit, Standing Voice, and it's been an amazing journey. Locally, I live in Orange County. I've grown up in California, and I have an amazing husband who's a pastor, and 2 teenage girls who are 16 and 18, Rachel and Hannah. So I love spending time with them, and we have just gotten into off-roading as one of our hobbies, so we do that on the weekends. I am also very much into fitness, and I just finished climbing Mount Kilimanjaro in Africa for a charity climb with women with albinism. So I like to mix both my hobbies and my service. My purpose really is to help people to find a way to thrive and live in their environment, really improve their quality of life when they do have vision impairment. And that's all ages. That's children to adults, although most of my patients are older with certain eye diseases. But I really don't want to see anyone left out of society. I don't want them to be not included and not enjoying life to the fullest. And so I really try to work at expanding low vision models and how that care is provided and the resources that people are able to obtain, both here in the U.S., but also globally in Africa and other countries. Stay tuned for White Coat on Alkarma TV.
اهلا بحضراتكم في فقرتنا الرئيسيه النهارده من وايت كوت اللي هنتكلم فيها على ضعف الابصار بشكل عام، واسباب ضعف الابصار دي كتيره جدا، منهم على سبيل المثال لا الحصر الميه البيضاء، الميه الزرقاء، التآكل بتاع الشبكيه بالسن، احيانا مرض السكر بيأثر على ده. وجزء منها كبير مرض المهق زي ما بنسموه أو الألبينيزم، وده بيأثر بشكل كبير جدا على الموضوع ده. هنبتدي بس بالمرض ده بسرعة، لأنه منظمة غير هادفة للربح اسمها ستاندينج فويس بتعمل كل الرحلات دي لأفريقيا بشكل عام، بتساعد كل الأطفال هناك. هنوري حضراتكم نشاطاتهم إيه قبل ما نتكلم على أسباب ضعف الإبصار وطرق العلاج الحديثة بتاعتها. وزي ما أنا قلت هنتكلم على سبب منفصل في حلقة لوحده بعد كده. It's my pleasure and honor today to welcome for the first time on White Coat Dr. Rebecca Kammer. Welcome to White Coat.
Thank you. It's great to be here.
In the beginning, like I just mentioned in my Arabic introduction, that you have a lot of missionary activities in Africa to help the albinism kids. So let's let our viewers know in the beginning, what is albinism?
Sure. Albinism in the U.S. is a very rare condition. It's a genetic condition. It takes both mother and father with a recessive gene to have a child with albinism. So they may not appear to have it, but the child will. And what it means is there's a lack of pigmentation, either absolute lack or maybe just limited in both the skin, eyes, and hair.
According to the penetration of genes and how,
Right, and there are different types of albinism. There's type 1, 2, and so on. And in the U.S., we see multiple types, and that may mean that they have no pigmentation at all. So very white hair, very light eyes, light color blue eyes, white skin.
So it doesn't affect only the skin, but it affects the vision too.
Yes, every organ that has pigment, and actually pigment is really important in the eyes and the visual pathway as the child is developing in the womb even.
So how it affects the vision?
So it has multiple aspects of it. So as we go through the eye and how it's connected to the brain, pigment is actually important in the pathway from the brain to the eye as the baby is developing in the mother's womb. And that pigment is actually important for binocular vision, how both of our eyes work together. So when it's lacking, as the child is born, usually there's one eye that's a stronger, more developed eye, or maybe what the brain is paying attention to. And the other eye might wander or have strabismus. It may look like both eyes are straight, but usually it means that one eye is more the dominant eye. It also means that in the retina, the fovea, which is the area of the retina that is really important for eye development and seeing sharp detail of objects, whether a child's in school or you're watching TV. I mean, those are detailed things that you need to be able to see. That's underdeveloped in the eye, and so they don't have good visual acuity, we'd say, or ability to discriminate details. So things are just more blurred, you could say. There's also one other, and that's another big one, which is there's so much light that enters the eye, and without pigment, it's not absorbed.
Right.
And so you have a lot of light scatter and real sensitivity. So they're very light sensitive when they go outside in the sun. And that can vary a little bit depending on, again, whether they have a little bit of pigment or no pigment. Those are the big ones.
When we talk about Standing Voice, this great nonprofit organization, I really liked what you did in Africa.
Thank you.
So would you please let us know, like, what's your website? How can we donate or contact Standing Voice? At the meantime, what happened in Tanzania?
Sure. So Standing Voice, I joined when I first started going to Africa. You know, I actually saw a documentary one night. I was up late and couldn't sleep, and I saw this documentary on children that were really mistreated, to say the least, in Tanzania specifically. And I can talk a little bit more about that, but basically I knew I needed to do something. And so I contacted a group. I'm a Christian, and so I really felt like I was being called to this work, and tracked down someone, Peter Ash, with Under the Same Sun, and he connected me originally to the work in East Africa. And then over the years, as I learned quite a bit more and how to kind of spread the care that I was doing and providing vision correction for these children and educating doctors, Standing Voice is a group from the UK, and they were really interested in providing networks of vision care that would go kind of out to all the rural areas. So standingvoice.org.
So that's your website on this?
Yes. So that's
standingvoice.org?
Yes. www. Yes. And they're, again, UK-based, but I volunteer with them to run the vision program and to develop how we can provide care, vision care, to children and adults, but usually we focus on employment and education as our main, access.
It's an amazing job. Good job, Peter Ash. Good job, Dr. Kammer.
Thank you.
It's really, really great what you did. Let's see a video. الحقيقة زي ما أنا اتكلمت مع دكتور كامر دلوقتي، احنا اتكلمنا على فكرة إيه هو الألبينيزم، والحقيقة أنا لما جيت أدور على الترجمة هي معناها مرض المهق، أو اللي بنسميهم الأطفال اللي هو بنشوفهم بيبقوا بيض تماما، جسمهم كله ما فيهوش صبغات الميلانين اللي موجودة في جسمنا. والحقيقة الناس بتتخيل إنه الأطفال دول أو الكبار دول أو المرضى بتوع الألبينيزم بشكل عام اللي بيعانوا من المرض ده، إنه المشكلة الوحيدة عندهم هي في صبغات الجلد بس، ولكن لا، الميلانين، صبغة الميلانين اللي ربنا حطها في جسمنا موجودة في كل أعضاء جسمنا. وأهم الأعضاء فيهم هو الجلد والعين اللي بيتأثروا بشكل كبير جدا. العين بتفقد صبغاتها تماما، بيبقى يعني الأطفال دول بيعانوا من مشاكل كتير جدا في النظر، ضعف الإبصار زي ما شرح الدكتور كامر. الحقيقة المنظمة اللي هي ستاندينج فويس بتعمل شغل كبير جدا في أفريقيا بشكل عام. راحوا أول عملوا رحلة في تنزانيا، هنشوف كل يعني لقطات من رحلتهم في تنزانيا. معانا فيديو رائع جدا عن الرحلة دي. قبل بس ما نشوف الفيديو، الحقيقة عايز أسألها إيه اللي عملوه، إيه الإنجازات بتاعتهم في تنزانيا. كمان حاجة مهمة جدا إذا في ليهم رحلات تانية جاية. Is there any coming missionary works in Africa beside Tanzania, or it's just Tanzania?
Good question. My vision and goal is always to expand the care, and how that care is provided. It's actually pretty difficult to do an eye exam on someone with albinism. Their eyes shake and they don't like lights. And of course, when you do an eye exam, you often have hot lights. And
it's not pleasant testing anyway.
It's difficult. So you have to have clinical skills that you can understand what you're doing. And then also, I've kind of developed some shortcuts over the time of, working there for the last 8 years. And I travel there maybe once or twice a year, so I'm not there constantly. But my main goal is to train the health professionals, so the eye doctors in those countries, and then equip them so that they can provide the programs themselves.
And they can take care of them.
Yeah, it needs to be sustainable and such. So that's the goal, is to...
And if we want to summarize the achievements in Tanzania trip, how many schools Standing Voice built? How many children?
So we're trying to, so we've actually partnered with a company, Essilor, a French company that provides us with some of the lenses that we need, with really all the lenses. It turns out that these children are very, very nearsighted. Okay. It's very different from albinism in the rest of the world. The other thing about Tanzania is it's 10 times more common to have albinism there than it is here. So you have 2 black parents that have 1 white child and they don't understand what it is. So that all propagates cultural issues and reasons for why the albinism exists and so on. So our goal is to provide access to education and employment, and they're very discriminated. They're not equal in society. So our goal is to reach about 1,000 children and young adults per year through the program. We estimate there's about 10,000 people with albinism in Tanzania alone. And it's not just Tanzania. There are neighboring countries that have very high numbers of...
So it's about long-term, 10 years plan.
Yes,
almost.
Yes, very much. And so there's always funding issues, and we partner with the government, but the government can't support the financials, so they provide maybe the space for us to meet. And we go out into these schools and try to bring the children together and see them in the schools.
الحقيقة زي ما قال الدكتور كامر عن نتائج الرحلة دي، بيساعدوا تقريبا حوالي 1000 طفل في السنة. مش بس كده، كمان بيحاولوا يبنوا مدارس ليهم عشان دول بيبقوا عايزين اكوموديشن معينة في النظر بتاعهم. فالحقيقة منظمة رائعة جدا. قلت بس نحط سبوت عليها قبل ما نبتدي حلقتنا عن ضعف الإبصار. هنوري حضراتكم فيديو للرحلة اللي عملوها وازاي فعلا ساعدوا الناس في البلاد الأفريقية. زي ما هي قالت، بتبقى حاجة غريبة جدا انه بيبقى الأب والأم من أصول أفريقية، بشرة سوداء، بيلاقوا عندهم طفل أبيض تماما نتيجة فقدان الصبغات دي. هنوري حضراتكم الفيديو ونرجع نتكلم على حلقتنا الرئيسية النهاردة، وأسباب ضعف الإبصار وطرق العلاج.
Many people with albinism, especially children, if they don't get proper assistive devices, the performance in the classroom really is very low.
Having good sight and good vision should be a right, and having good vision should also be a priority.
Problems that affect the vision are light sensitivity, so it's very bright, both in the classroom and outside, but also they have low vision or vision impairment, and this means that they aren't able to see small writing on the blackboard when the teacher is writing. In Tanzania, we have about 15,000, maybe more, people with albinism, And so when I started working with Standing Voice, we were trying to provide vision care to all children who were in schools, trying to help them to have a better education. About half of the children need very strong, very high prescription lenses.
Some of the kids that we have seen more than 300. Some of them had prescription of -24, so which is very, very, very big.
And then after that, they still need to see things bigger. And so we need to help them be able to see that through magnifiers, through special telescopes, to see the blackboard. So we first need to do an eye examination, the special low vision examination, and to prescribe the glasses, and then the magnifiers after that. And then, of course, sunglasses for the light sensitivity.
This program is very essential for the albinism community in Tanzania. For any developing nations, things like assistive devices for persons with albinism are always expensive. And therefore, when we have these for students at school, it's like we are opening more doors of opportunity. So the program is very essential.
My name is Harry Freeland. I'm the CEO and founder of Standing Voice. On behalf of the charity, we're incredibly proud to be launching this new 3-year partnership with Vision for Life Essilor. Over the next 3 years, we'll be bringing vision devices to 4,200 children with albinism in schools across Tanzania. We very much hope this program will then expand across the country and into neighboring African countries as well.
All the 4,200 kids will have sunglasses to protect them on UV, because we have to give them the vision correction and the right one, and also to protect them on UV, because it's very important for albinist population. We decided to start this program in Tanzania due to the situation of albinism, and we really want, with Vision for Life program, to provide the better vision for this type of population and to provide them a better life and bright future.
And this helps me when I am in the class. Thank you, Vision for Life.
Thank you, Vision for Life, for this. Thank you.
حقيقة مجهود رائع جدا جدا جدا، يعني ربنا يباركهم بصراحة. تاني لو حضراتكم عايزين تتعرفوا على نشاطاتهم، تساعدوا بأي شكل من أشكال المساعدة، standingvoice.org. Dr. Kammer, I have been mentioning since we started this episode, low vision, low vision, low vision. What is low vision?
So low vision, usually the way we define it is where you have an eye disease or an eye condition that affects both eyes. And even with your best glasses on, you still have difficulties seeing small print, seeing faces, things like that. But globally, low vision is kind of expanded because they don't have access to glasses in many countries. And so even just refractive error, uncorrected refractive error, meaning your prescription for glasses, without the correction, you're considered low vision. So it's much higher across the world.
And I think the statistics saying 2.9 million Americans now are suffering from low vision.
And that's actually pretty conservative. That's from the NEI website, and it's probably a couple years old, but you know, it always depends a bit how these are defined, but there's other statistics of about 11 million people that have vision impairment of all ages.
And it would increase 72% by 2030, right?
Yes.
So what are the reasons for low vision? Why it keeps expanding?
Yes. In the U.S., again, it's a little bit different from globally, but age-related macular degeneration is our #1 cause of vision impairment, and that affects people that are usually 60 and over. It can't even start in the early 50s and such. But because we have such an older population with a high number, with high prevalence of AMD, macular degeneration, and our aging population, our baby boomers are getting older, and so because of that population, and we're living longer, and so we have more visual impairment that's at least predicted. And we are starting to see that. We are starting to see the trends of that in the U.S. at least.
So what are the other reasons beside macular degeneration for low vision?
Glaucoma is a big cause of that, and that can affect all ages. There's congenital glaucoma where it's more in childhood and much more devastating. And then adult onset glaucoma, which, you know, there's other causes, but we'll sit on glaucoma for a moment. Glaucoma is where it's really affecting the optic nerve. We think of it as having high pressure in the eyes. There are other things that can cause it besides just the high pressure, but it's basically cutting off, oxygen or blood flow to the optic nerve. And when that happens, you end up having blind spots that are either both, central to your vision or also peripheral to your vision.
And what other reasons besides glaucoma, macular degeneration? What else? And we'll go in details.
Sure. Okay, perfect. So glaucoma, diabetic retinopathy, so diabetic eye disease, even cataract is a form of low vision. If people choose not to have the surgery, or maybe for some complication it's delayed, that can cause vision impairment in both eyes when you have mature cataracts. Also things like retinitis pigmentosa, and that's a group of inherited retinal diseases. And definitely more of a genetic cause to that, and we can talk a little bit more about that.
Right.
But,
we'll talk in details about each of them.
Okay.
زي ما سألت دكتور كامر دلوقتي ايه هي اسباب ضعف ايه الاول فكره ايه هو ضعف الابصار او اللو فيجن زي ما بنسميه، فقالت انه في اسباب كتيره في البالغين بتبقى اسباب رئيسيه جدا لضعف الابصار. في 5-6 اسباب بيبقوا واضحين جدا. لو يمكن نحط سلايد 9 على الشاشه. الحقيقه رقم 1 واهمهم على الاطلاق هو بنسميها التآكل الشبكي نتيجه تقدم العمر بشكل عام. تاني سبب من الأسباب القوية جدا لضعف الإبصار عند الكبار بشكل عام هو المية الزرقاء أو زي ما بنسميها الجلوكوما. تالت حاجة مهمة جدا الناس اللي بتعاني من مرض السكر وبيبقى له مشاكل ومضاعفات على الشبكية. رابع نقطة الريتينايتس بيجمنتوزا أو اللي هي بنسميها التهاب الشبكية الصبغي، وده بيبقى مرض وراثي. وعلى فكرة هنتكلم عن الجديد في علاجه النهاردة، لأنه يمكن لحد ما احنا بنتكلم دلوقتي ملوش علاج واضح في العالم كله، ولكن في تطورات كبيرة قوي في الأبحاث هناقشها معاها النهاردة. كمان قالت انه من ضعف أسباب الإبصار المية البيضاء أو الكاتراكت بشكل عام بتأثر كمان على كل ده. بتبقى أسباب من ضعف الإبصار في الكبار. زي ما احنا شفنا كمان المخ أو المرض اللي احنا شفناه دلوقتي أو الألبينيزم بيبقى سبب كبير جدا منهم. كمان الانفصال الشبكي بيبقى سبب كبير جدا من أسباب ضعف الإبصار. كل ده بيبقى من أسباب ضعف الإبصار في الكبار. فهنناقش مع حضراتكم واحد واحد. يمكن النهاردة طبعا مش هنقدر نناقش كل ال9 أسباب دول، ولكن هنحاول ناخد فكرة عامة عن كل واحد، وبعد كده هنخصص حلقة بس للمياه البيضاء وحلقة للمياه الزرقاء وهكذا. وهنناقش كمان أسبابها، طرق العلاج، كل ده هنناقشه في حلقات منفصلة، لأنه ده مهم جدا إن احنا نناقشه مع حضراتكم ونوريكم الجديد في الطب في طرق علاج حاجة من دول. So you said the most common cause for low vision in the US is age-related macular degeneration, right? So what's the reasons for that, the symptoms and signs, and how it impact the patient life?
Sure. So if we go to actually the last slide that you had up there, we had a kind of a cross-section of the eye that was there.
Right.
So we can talk
we can
a little
start
bit about
with
that.
this. So to let our viewers understand which organ does what in the eye,
Yes.
and how we have our vision now. That لو احنا جبنا مع حضراتكم الصورة بتاع العين عشان دكتور كامر عايزة تشرح بشكل سيبريت ومختلف كل عضو في أعضاء العين وهو بيعمل إيه.
Perfect. So as light enters the eye, as it comes from outside, and then the first layer that it hits is the cornea. So on the image that's on the screen, we have it on the left side. The cornea acts like a lens in a way, and it has to be very clear, and that'll come into play when we talk about other diseases in a little bit. As you continue on through the cornea, there's a little segment anterior chamber. There's just a little gap, and it has a liquid in there that's kind of like water.
Okay.
And then we go on to the lens. The lens is very important because that's what is very clear when we're young, and it changes color as we age. You know,
Okay.
light is absorbed, UV light, and so on, and so it becomes more cloudy and maybe even yellowish in color.
Protein denaturation of the lens and all that stuff.
Yes, and that ends up what we call generically a cataract, is when that lens is not clear and the light is not passing through it. So we can come back to that in a little bit. Then you keep going and there's a vitreous. Vitreous is kind of this jelly that kind of holds up the structure of the eye. Doesn't do a whole lot in terms of, you know, there's no blood supply and so on. And in this picture, it's just clear. You don't see it in there.
Right.
And then we go on to the retina. The retina is such an important structure, but you can kind of think of it as the film in a camera, but it's obviously more complicated than that. And I mentioned already about this area, the fovea, or where the macula is kind of the larger region where the fovea sits. And that's where all of our detailed vision And then as you go out into the periphery and you think about your vision and what you see in the periphery, that's the peripheral retina. All that orange that's there in that picture is really light can hit any area of that, and that's your peripheral vision.
Okay.
Peripheral vision is very important for movement, for walking around. You don't really think about it as you're walking and you view straight, but you are taking into account what's happening down below you.
Recognizing stuff coming from the sides.
Yes,
all
movement. We detect movement.
Driving is very important.
Yes, absolutely. There's a car, so paying attention to that. Your central vision then, and the way that the brain works in the eye with the timing of it is how it processes your central vision. If you're really trying to focus on something and do something detailed like reading, then that central part of your vision is critical, and the timing of it. And the rest of your peripheral vision is kind of tuned out for a moment. So it's based on kind of the tasks that you're doing. Well, macular degeneration really affects that central area. It does not really affect the peripheral area. So the good news is, if you have macular degeneration and it has progressed in both eyes and it's impairing vision centrally, you'll always have
your peripheral vision is still preserved.
And people worry, the first thing they say is, am I going blind? And well, what do you mean by blind? And they usually mean darkness, like I'm going to be lost. No, you'll never be totally blind from macular degeneration. Okay. It is definitely a significant cause of loss, and people with macular degeneration often have depression. At least 30% go through depression,
right.
At least. So macular degeneration functionally, if we go to the next slide, we'll see kind of a picture of that retina. And, I don't expect anyone to really understand all the pieces to it, other than it looks a little bit, it's intimidating. It has, some patchy areas that really have scars on it. Yeah, slide number 10. And the retina has blood vessels that extend into different areas to kind of feed it, and provide it with its oxygen. Well, macular degeneration, again, it affects that central area. And so there's first initially some deposits, fatty deposits that are built up, and that can block vision or at least distort it. So right. Metamorphopsia might be something that someone experiences, just distorted vision centrally. But then if it progresses, it turns into more of a blind spot, and it's a scar. And so the picture there is kind of a more advanced stage where there's really quite a scar that's producing. Now, when someone has a blind spot, they don't necessarily see a black dot in their vision. Some do, but usually it's an emptiness. And so people don't even realize that they're missing all this visual information. They're just frustrated because they can't see the details on someone's face, or I can't read my newspaper anymore, doc, those kind of things. So we really have to deal with, that blind spot. How do we deal with that? And we'll talk about that in the rehabilitation. How do we manage that?
Okay.
But macular degeneration usually causes impact in both eyes. So it might start in one, but it's really happening bilaterally.
So it could be unilateral or bilateral?
Yes, usually it's going to progress to both eyes. And it can be either dry or wet. Dry is still devastating because it is slow progressing. It affects your ability to see kind of low contrast objects. Things are a little bit more faded, and then it can progress to more of that blind spot. Wet macular degeneration is more aggressive and usually causes a quicker, more devastating type of visual impairment because there's more of a leakage between the layers of the retina, but there are treatments for it. And so there are these injections that can slow that or stop the progression or even have you regain a little bit of vision. You never regain fully everything, but there are major advances that have happened in that area. And
so the good news, there is treatment and peripheral vision is still preserved.
Yes.
Right?
Yes,
so that's the... زي ما قالت دكتور كامر بنتكلم على أسباب ضعف الإبصار في الكبار بشكل عام. أول سبب من أسباب ده وزي ما أنا قلت لحضراتكم هنناقش كل الأسباب دي بسرعة النهاردة، ولكن هنفرد حلقات لنوع من أنواع الأمراض دي. النوع الأولاني من الأمراض دي بنسميه التآكل الشبكي أو الانحلال الشبكي نتيجة تقدم العمر، وده بيحصل بشكل طبيعي بتقدم العمر. بنبتدي زي ما قلنا الماكيولار ديجنريشن او الانحلال الشبكي نتيجه تقدم العمر او التآكل الشبكي. انا اسف احيانا بتبقى التراجم شويه شكلها بيخض، ولكن زي ما قالت دكتور كامر اعراضه بسيطه جدا. انه الجزء النظر المركزي، لو احنا اتكلمنا مع حضراتكم على النظر بتاعنا بشكل عام، في نظر مركزي اللي هو انت بتشوف قدامك على طول، وفي نظر زي ما بنقول البريفرال فيجن او النظر الخارجي اللي هو مثلا حاجه جايه من جنب او الحاجه اللي تحتك لما تبص تحتك. فالانحلال الشبكي او التآكل الشبكي ده هيأثر فقط على النظر المركزي اللي هو وانت شايف قدامك. زي ما قالت ان هو بيبتدي بنسبه بسيطه ولكن بيزيد بمرور الوقت. مش هيأثر زي ما احنا قلنا على البريفرال فيجن بتاع حضرتك أو حضرتك. زي ما هي قالت كمان إنه في منه أنواع، ولكن هو بيزيد زي ما احنا قلنا بتقدم العمر. كمان نقطة مهمة جدا قالتها دكتور كامر، إنه الحاجتين الكويسين في الموضوع ده إن زي ما احنا قلنا البريفرال فيجن موجود زي ما هو. الحاجة التانية إنه في دلوقتي له علاج، وفي يعني طرق جديدة من العلاج بتحاول إن احنا نرجع قوة الإبصار زي ما كانت، لأنه أكتر حاجة بتضايق مريض التآكل الشبكي نتيجة تقدم العمر هو فكرة إنه أحيانا ما بيقدرش يميز الوشوش زي الأول، ما بيقدرش يقرأ زي الأول. وزي ما هي قالت إن ده بيحصل بعد من 55 ل 60 سنة وبيبتدي يزيد بالوقت. So we talked about how it impacts the patient life. How about the rehabilitation and the treatment options, if we can go through them fast?
Yeah, so when someone is first diagnosed with macular degeneration, it might be early where they're not necessarily noticing any vision symptoms, or they might notice it's getting a little more difficult to read. They need more light on the page. You know, the glasses just aren't working anymore. That's what I hear all the time. Again, it's when it's affecting both eyes. When it affects one eye and it's maybe the non-dominant eye, your brain kind of ignores that, and it may not be as much of an issue in impacting daily life. So we're talking about, you know, both eyes are impacted. And so even early on, I would say that there's rehabilitation that we can work with. You don't have to wait until the disease has progressed so long. Or sometimes people say, well, I'm still having treatment. And that's great, have treatment. But you don't want to live your life, it could be years, and not have any help to see what you need to see in the meantime. So I think of rehabilitation really as an ongoing process. And earlier the better. So the earlier the ophthalmologist when the diagnosis, or optometrist when the diagnosis comes, that really there's education about that. And then what we would do is look at, okay, what is the current vision that they have? How is it impacting daily life? So low vision physicians would be usually an optometrist. It could be an ophthalmologist. These exams, they just take a long time. They're going to take 45 minutes to even an hour and 15 minutes or maybe more.
To evaluate.
Yeah, to talk about what are you doing in your life? How is this impacting you? The doctor really needs to understand, you know, activities of daily life, and are you living alone? Are you living upstairs? You know, how is your mobility? Many things about
assessment for safety for the patients and all that.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
And macular degeneration does have risk factors for falls because contrast sensitivity is impacted. So when we talk about vision, there's areas of vision that we measure, vision function, and one of them is your high contrast acuity, you know, letters. Oh, I see the big E on the chart, you know, that's one, but that's really only a little bit of our life, you know, is seeing these high contrast details. The next is really this low contrast world. We have different colors, we have, when you step off of a curb, that's a low contrast object. And so that area is really impacted in macular degeneration typically. So we're going to assess those type of things. Also the field. So how is that blind spot? Is it both eyes? What's the shape of the blind spot? Because remember, we said peripheral vision is still preserved.
Right.
So the brain is amazing, and even in macular degeneration, it starts to choose maybe another area, not just straight ahead central, but maybe an area off to the side to view a little better. And the patient's not even aware of that usually. And so the exam is really to explore all of that and then help the patient understand their own vision, which eye is better. Maybe the two eyes are fighting a bit. And so maybe we want to cover one when we're concentrating in order to use the better eye.
Right.
So there's strategies to explore, and then we go into types of devices and resources that can help them do what they want. If it's reading print, they're magnifiers. Again, we'll explore a little bit more about that later. There's also people that can help in the home who I can send or we can team with in the community, occupational therapists or nonprofit disability groups, and they would help with independent living, so helping to see the microwave, maybe putting some special dots on there so they don't have to use
assessment for risk and all those kind of stuff for their safety as well.
Right, so it's really a full thing and not usually like one visit.
Also, I want to highlight, we need to work on their feelings to deal with the anger and depression due to the loss of eyesight.
When someone comes in and they're dealing with that, they're going through a stage of loss, right? And so when I say, okay, we can do this, we can have devices and we can, you know, restore
things. But they're still frustrated. Like,
and they're sitting there like, and at the end of the exam, you know, I'm like, okay, and I always try to ask, you know, what did you learn from our exam today, you know? And sometimes they will say, that there's nothing you can do. I'm like, what? There's lots we can do, you know. And so you're trying to establish where they are in that process. And it may be that I have to say, okay, we're gonna sit on the rehabilitation for a little bit. We'll come back in 6 months. In the meantime, let's see if we can get you some counseling, or let's talk to your primary care physician about the depression.
Or seeing a psychiatrist.
Yes, absolutely.
الحقيقة زي ما احنا قلنا لحضراتكم النهارده بنتعامل مع أسباب ضعف الإبصار في الكبار. رقم واحد زي ما احنا قلنا هو التحلل الشبكي أو الانحلال الشبكية نتيجة تقدم العمر أو تآكل الشبكية نتيجة تقدم العمر أو الماكيولار ديجنريشن. زي ما قال الدكتور كامر دلوقتي إنه في حاجات كتير ممكن تساعد العلاج، أهمهم على الإطلاق فكرة النظارات أو فكرة الماجنيفايرز المكبرات، لأنه زي ما احنا قلنا السنترال فيجن هو اللي بنفقده بشكل كبير مع تقدم العمر. كمان حاجة مهمة جدا مع البيشنتس دول لازم يعني نعمل اسسمنت أو نعمل تقييم لسلامتهم في البيت، الحاجات اللي بتبقى موجودة في طريقهم لازم كل ده يتم مع بعضه. وفي ناس بتروح البيت، أنا عارف إنه ده ممكن يبقى شوية مش موجود في الشرق الأوسط بشكل كبير، ولكن الناس اللي عايشة هنا عارفة يعني إيه إن إحنا ممكن نعمل يعني الناس بتروح البيت عشان تشوف إجراءات سلامة البيشنت ده في البيت بشكل عام. كمان قالت إن إحنا لازم نتعامل مع فكرة يعني مشاعر الغضب اللي بتبقى موجودة عندهم نتيجة إنه مش شايف كويس، ولكن كل طرق العلاج بتاع التحلل الشبكي نتيجة تقدم العمر. وكمان الموضوع ده هنناقشه بالتفصيل في حلقة منفصلة، ولكن احنا بس النهاردة هنناقش ايه هي الأسباب، وبعد كده هنناقش سبب بالتفصيل، لأنه ده مهم جدا ان احنا نناقش أسباب ضعف الإبصار اللي بتحصل لنا كلنا بشكل عام. So that's for the age-related macular degeneration. How about glaucoma? You mentioned glaucoma as one of the most common causes for
glaucoma. Yes. So slide 11, we have it's a tricky disease because it's silent, so to speak. You know, you don't feel any pain, you don't notice right away that any vision is changing, and so you know, to get checked early on, make sure you have regular eye exams. Eye pressure is one thing that they're looking at. You know, right. is this out of range? But even within range, you can still have glaucoma. Right. And so
it's very important to highlight this. Tonometer by itself is not just the only thing we can discover.
Absolutely. So they're always looking at a visual field. So a good exam should always include a visual field where they're just detecting. You remember I said that optic nerve is affected, impacted. So optic nerve really does, it feeds the eye. You know, it's the very end of the whole system, but it's connected to your brain. And so everything's passing through that, your timing, visual timing, perception, all of it. So if that's impacted, you might have some visual field loss very early. Now, I don't mean blind spots absolutely like the macular degeneration, but more areas that are a little bit depressed and faded. And you wouldn't notice that just looking around the room, you know.
I have a question here. It might be too scientific for our viewers, but the cup-to-desk ratio is an early predictor for that, or?
It is. So when you're looking at the retina and you look at the optic nerve from inside the eye, it has a very distinct look to it, you know. And so in, let's say, slide 10, even with the macular degeneration image, the optic nerve, there's that little white disc that's kind of sitting there and all the blood vessels come out around that.
So there is early predictors for the glaucoma beside the tonometer or the measuring the eye pressure.
Yes, so the anatomical structure, how it looks, we say this is within normal range. Now some races have a little bit different look to the optic nerve, and so actually African Americans are much higher risk for glaucoma than others. So the doctor does need to know what is kind of normal for, you know, that group, but also that person. So you can have a distinct look that really isn't disease related but looks funny.
Okay.
Well, we'd want to follow you, you know, and so even doing regular eye exams with one provider over time is an important one as well.
Just to make it simpler for our viewers, what kind of symptoms and signs they would expect with glaucoma? Or what happens?
Again, it's only when it's later in the condition, and so then you're already kind of working backwards. Yes,
okay.
it is a big genetic component, absolutely. And what someone might notice is that things are a little bit more faded, or they need more light when they're trying to read or do something a little more detailed. But really, again, until it's pretty far along, it's not detectable. You know, so you really do need to have those eye
what's
exams.
the dramatic symptoms happen with glaucoma? Usually when it happens, it's dramatic for the patient.
Well, so if it's progressed, so someone either knows that they have it and they're being followed, and so then, you know, it's the figure that I have in image 11 is, it really shows the front of the eye. So even though we're affecting the optic nerve, the control of all that is usually in the front of the eye. So it might be eye drops, it might be a type of surgery that they're doing to try to let more of the fluid flow within the eye and kind of help the pressure build up. So if that's the case and they're being managed, then they may have slow progression, and it's just doing the best to control the disease, but they may still have progression. And when that happens, then you really end up with more of a tunnel vision type of end result. along the way, it's more of blind spots and maybe faded vision.
So in this case, peripheral vision is gone, and we keep the central vision.
Yes.
Okay, it's the opposite of macular degeneration.
Right, and then what you end up having is difficulty with mobility, you know, seeing objects as you're walking, and so you might still be able to do some things up close and do detailed work or see someone's face, but you may have more difficulty with walking.
Okay.
Again, glaucoma is complicated because along the way, it would be both some faded vision and blurred vision and then field loss as well, so it's not quite simple.
هي من أسباب ضعف الإبصار في الكبار برضو زي ما قال الدكتور كامر. أشهر تاني سبب من الأسباب دي هو الجلوكوما أو المية الزرقاء. زي ما أنا قلت لحضراتكم ما تقلقوش، هنعمل حلقة كاملة عن الجلوكوما وطرق العلاج، ولكن النهاردة بس بنشوف الأسباب. الجلوكوما أو المية الزرقاء زي ما هي قالت مشكلتها إنها بتحصل مرة واحدة، زي ما بنقول ملهاش مقدمات، ولكن في طرق زي ما هي قالت، يعني نوع من السكريننج تيست اللي ممكن تتعمل ونقدر نكتشف بيها الجلوكوما بدري شويه. اهمهم على الاطلاق ان احنا بنقيس ضغط العين كل فتره، وده دايما الناس اللي عندهم تاريخ مرضي عائلي للجلوكوما لازم يقيسوا ضغط العين كل فتره. قالت احيانا للاسف انها بتحصل مع ضغط عين طبيعي، احيانا الميه الزرقاء بتحصل وضغط العين طبيعي، ففي حاجه جديده يعني جهاز بنقدر نقيس بيه جزء معين في العصب البصري وبنقدر نتنبأ بيه بشكل مبكر في الجلوكوما حتى لو ضغط العين طبيعي. فده برضو شيء مهم جدا ان مشاهدينا يبقوا عارفين الحكايه دي، انه حتى لو ضغط العين بتاع حضرتك او حضرتك طبيعي لازم نعمل التحاليل دي لو في تاريخ عائلي مرضي او النوع ده من الفحوصات، لانه ده بيبقى مهم جدا جدا جدا. قالت كمان انه زي ما احنا قلنا انه في التآكل الشبكي النظر المركزي نفسه هو اللي بيضيع، ولكن الحاجات الجانبية بتفضل. ده العكس تماما في الجلوكوما. مرضى الجلوكوما بيحسوا انه النظر المركزي بتاعهم كويس، بس المشكلة دايما في الحاجات اللي بتيجي من جنب او تحت، هي دي اللي بيبقى فيها مشكلة بالنسبة لهم. زي ما هي قالت ان الجلوكوما دلوقتي بتتعالج سهل جدا، ان احنا نعمل عمليات بالليزر او في قطرات دلوقتي بتتاخد، وهنناقش كل ده بالتفصيل في حلقة المية الزرقاء بس. ولكن زي ما قلت النهاردة بس بنشوف الأسباب بشكل عام، أسباب ضعف الإبصار في الكبار. قلنا أول سبب التآكل الشبكي نتيجة تقدم العمر، تاني سبب المية الزرقاء. So what else do we have as a reason?
So we should talk about diabetic retinopathy.
Okay.
Diabetes is impacting so many Americans.
First, how often every diabetic patient should check his eyes, because that's very important.
Yeah, definitely annually, definitely annually, and make sure it's a dilated eye exam, because often they're going in to check their glasses and so on, but that's not looking really fully at the back of the eye until it's dilated. With the drops, unfortunately,
And they don't see for like 4 to 6 hours.
Yeah, that makes it, your pupil's large and it's a little harder to read and do things like that, but yeah, it's worth it.
So it has to be dilated eye exam.
Yes. Now there are amazing cameras now that can take pictures of the back of the eye without dilation, but I think saying dilated is a much safer approach.
Okay. The traditional way is always safer, right? So how it impacts their life, what kind of symptoms they expect with diabetic retinopathy?
So yes, diabetic retinopathy, when diabetes, it's affecting all the blood vessels of the body. The unique thing about the eye is that you actually see the blood vessels there in the retina. So in our pictures we've already shown, you see these blood vessels throughout. Well, in diabetes, there's typically, metabolism issues, not enough oxygen, and so new blood vessels form. And these new blood vessels are to hopefully feed the retina and so on. But what happens is they're very weak and they leak.
Eruption. Mm-hmm.
Yes. And so because they're leaky, then you have blood and hemorrhages throughout the retina.
And how, symptoms-wise, how this hemorrhage affect,
So at first, the little hemorrhages don't affect it. So they can go into an eye exam and the doctor can look in and say, whoa, this doesn't look good. And they may actually be having no symptoms, really. So that's, again, why it's important to check it along the way. Because if there is, then we want to get, that blood sugar under control is the number one thing. But when it is really severe and there's a major hemorrhage and maybe some scarring in the back of the eye, and all of that, the blood vessels, everything's really sticky back there. And so what happens is you have more risk of the retina detaching and some really major things happening with total blindness. Where macular degeneration, you say you always have vision peripherally. With diabetic retinopathy, it could be a total
Do they see any kind of floaters, flashes?
You might, yes. So with the retina, with Retinal detachment, yes, you might see flashes of light, maybe a black curtain or like a black area to your vision where it might be detaching. But again, those are usually in the more further stages. So it's already been happening. The doctor's probably already warned the patient quite a bit to that point about that these things could be happening. I would say what I see clinically when I see a referral from, usually my referrals are from retina specialists who are managing the patients. I wouldn't manage the eye disease as a low vision specialist. I would see them after the referral. And so that's ongoing, but what patient might be experiencing is same difficulty with reading, small print, all of these leakages of blood vessels or hemorrhages or scarring still cause similar symptoms to some of these other eye diseases, and it's difficulty to read, it's difficult to see someone's face. They probably also have some peripheral vision that's impacted too. So slide 12, we have kind of a picture of, these slides are from NIH.
Okay. I have a question here first. But 51 years old male have Usher syndrome. So he's asking, he cannot even read with magnifiers. So what about stem cells? Is there any
good question. That's going to be retinitis pigmentosa. So let's hold that for just a minute, and then we'll go into that category.
بالنسبة للأستاذ هاني فكرة الالتهاب الشبكية الصبغي أو ريتينايتس بيجمنتوزا بشكل عام هنجاوب حضرتك عشان عاملين له سيجمنت كاملة في آخر يعني في آخر حلقتنا النهاردة، فمعلش حضرتك تابعنا ودكتور كامر هتجاوب السؤال بتاع حضرتك. Another question about astigmatism. Does it really cause low vision? That's the question.
That's a good question. Astigmatism is in the group what we call refractive errors. So nearsightedness, farsightedness, and astigmatism. And you can have a combination of astigmatism with farsightedness or myopia or nearsightedness. It really is about the shape of that front part of the eye of the cornea or the lens itself.
The curvature, yeah.
Yes, and so it's really about how light focuses. So it's correctable by lenses. The only thing is if you've never had it corrected throughout your life, it does cause blur at both distance and near, which can then result in amblyopia. Amblyopia, when you're very young, if you don't have glasses or correction on to make light focus directly on the retina, that blurred image, it reduces the child's ability to develop.
It's correctable and doesn't cause low vision.
That's unless it's not caught early and it's very high, and because in other countries, I definitely see astigmatism causing low vision.
لمدام فريدة برضو اللي بعتت لنا السؤال بتاع ابنها انه عنده استجماتيزم وبتسأل اذا الاستجماتيزم سبب من اسباب ضعف الابصار على اللونج ران. زي ما دكتور كامر قالت انه بيتم تصحيحه بالنظارات والحاجات دي، فده مش سبب من اسباب اللو فيجن في موضوع حلقتنا النهارده، ولكن قالت انه اذا كان بروجريسيف قوي قد يؤدي لده، ولكن هو مش سبب رئيسي من اسباب ضعف الابصار. Okay, so back to the diabetic retinopathy, how it impacts the life.
Yeah, so it's more of this patchy vision. It's also a fluctuating vision. So patients will often say that, you know, my vision is, it's a good day today, you know, it's a bad day today. And that contrast we talked about earlier, it's highly impacted in diabetic retinopathy. So it can also be peripheral vision, because one of the treatments to try to preserve the central part is laser photocoagulation, which can be in a circular pattern and really reduce vision. So it can be very challenging for our central vision patients, to walk around and mobility.
But the main screening and protective thing is regular eye exam for diabetic
prevent
patient.
it before it happens and control it along the way.
Prevention is better than cure.
Yeah.
زي ما دكتور كامر قالت انه احيانا كمان الشبكيه او النوع الثالث من اسباب ضعف الابصار في الكبار بيبقى خاص بمرض السكر، وده بنسميه اعتلال الشبكيه نتيجه مرض السكر انه ما بيبقاش تحت الكنترول او اندر كنترول قوي. زي ما قالت دكتور كامر انه احيانا بيعمل نزيف في العين، احيانا بيشوفوا فلوترز او ستاره سوداء نازله على عينيهم ما بتساعدهمش. قالت انه ده له علاج، بس اهم علاج في القصه دي لكل مرضى السكر اللي سامعيني لازم نروح للدكتور مره كل سنه عشان نعمل فحص والعين بعد توسيع حدقه العين، لانه ده اهم نوع من الفحص. كمان ان احنا يعني نعمل كنترول على السكر بتاعنا. We have a phone call from California here.
Okay.
نبيلة حضرتك معانا على الهواء، اتفضلي. مدام نبيلة اتفضلي.
Hello.
ايوه اتفضلي يا فندم.
Am I speaking to Dr. Tamer?
Oh, Nabil, اتفضل. Yes, you can. Go ahead.
Hello.
Hello.
Yes, go ahead. Nabil?
Yes.
Go ahead.
Okay.
What's your question?
Okay, I had a retina detachment surgery about yes. I had a retina detachment about 20 years ago.
Mm-hmm. And you said you had surgery?
Yes, I had surgery, and
if you can hear us from the phone only, would be better.
Okay. Can you hear me now?
Yes, it's better.
Okay.
So you had a retinal detachment 20 years ago and you had surgery. What's your question for Dr. Kammer?
And it didn't go well, and now I lost vision in that right eye.
Okay.
Okay, because it got infected, and they went inside to clean the infection, and they left a scar right in the center of the retina.
Okay.
And they took the lens out.
Okay.
Okay, my other eye now, it's getting really bad for driving or for long distance. And I saw a doctor, and he told me, don't play with it, don't mess around with it, and just leave it alone. Is that true, or should I could get like a cornea on the other eye so I could see, or what?
That's a good question. What is going on in that other eye? Do you know what's causing your loss of vision? Is it cataract?
I'm getting poor vision.
How old are you?
I'm 71.
Okay, so it's
right now, but that was 20 years ago when I had the surgery.
Yes. Well, you know, it probably is from cataract would be the most common cause of, you know, degrading vision at that age. And so sometimes the doctors are a little nervous about doing surgery on your good eye because they're afraid that maybe you'll have another detachment in that eye or some other complication, and it's your one good eye. But there's a risk to benefit ratio where you say, well, if you really can't drive, you can't do some of these, you know, daily activities because the vision is getting worse from that cataract, then I say it's time to get another opinion and to think about having, if there is something like simple, cataract surgery now is so straightforward and so simple. There are still complications, and especially when you have another eye condition.
And I have a question here.
Yeah.
How rare is you get a retinal detachment from a cataract surgery?
Well, he probably didn't get retinal detachment from the cataract surgery, probably from, did you have nearsightedness, really high glasses?
Yes. Yes.
So retinal detachment is your higher risk factor when your eye is very long from nearsightedness.
Myopia, then.
So he has the same risk on the other eye because it's usually two eyes that have this progressive myopia. So they want to be careful, but you know, again, there's this risk you're going to have to take into account with a good physician where they're talking to you about those risks. But once that impaired vision, you know, from a cataract or something that is preventable, I would really think about going ahead with exploring that.
Can it be like, go ahead, I'm sorry.
They're worried about the other eye get infected again, and you know, they told me I have a history of infection, and that's why they scared to do anything. They told me to leave it alone.
Yeah, you know, I don't think that the other eye, infection-wise, it necessarily affects the fellow eye unless you have something systemic going on with your body. But that's really best to, you know, explore. I would, if I were you, I would get at least 2 more opinions on that with physicians who have done very difficult retina surgeries. So I would go to a retina surgeon, but also someone who works well with a
basically
cornea
what
surgeon.
you're recommending is second and third opinion, and it's a basic like cost-benefit ratio,
Yeah.
so it's up to him to, he's part of the decision-making in this process.
Otherwise, if you do live with it, then you're in low vision range, and then, you know, it's using magnifiers and trying to create some adaptive strategies to live with that vision. So, you know, you may have to do that for a while until the time for surgery comes.
Thank you, Nabil, so much for your call, and I hope we answered your question. And back to retinitis pigmentosa, it's one of the main causes, Usher syndrome.
Yeah. So retinitis pigmentosa is a very interesting. My consulting work right now is really centered around inherited retinal diseases, and I work with clinical trials, and my role there is to really help them develop tests or use tests that are appropriate to measure whether a treatment is effective or not.
Okay.
So one of the things we've done in all the clinical trials in the past is use high contrast acuity, that, you know, letter E chart and such, to measure whether things have changed. Retinitis pigmentosa is tricky because as progression occurs, typically it takes peripheral vision and then there's just central vision left. And that central vision can be fairly wide, maybe this wide, 20 to 30 degrees, and then maybe it's down to very much of a pinhole in the very far progression. It may also lead to total blindness. Now, when someone gets their diagnosis, sometimes doctors would say to them, you know, you're going blind and you'll probably be blind by your 40.
The word I hate the most, there is no hope, no treatment, just basically go kill yourself. It's like...
It's an automatic trigger for depression,
right.
of course, you know. And the thing is with these diseases, you don't know, there's so many genetic types now of RP.
Okay.
They've mapped it to many, many genes and still many that they haven't mapped. But we don't know whether the progression is going to be very slow or whether it's going to be more rapid. And I have patients who are in their 70s who still have some vision, just a little bit, but are able to use that vision. They're, of course, impaired, but total blindness is a scary scenario. But even if you do, you know, that means that you learn to live in a blindness, you know, there are ways to adapt and there are ways to live a very full life as someone who's fully blind.
Okay.
So
I have another question. Does it have association with it, plus the vision complication?
So RP, there's the syndrome, Usher syndrome that we're talking about that does have hearing loss and vision loss. So Usher's is within that category of retinitis pigmentosa.
Spectrum,
yes. And you know, it is very challenging to lose your hearing. Two senses is a very challenging thing. And so usually that does start kind of in childhood or, you know, late teens as you start noticing some hearing loss. But people are working on there. So there are treatments now that are being explored. Nothing is ready, but, you know, gene therapies.
There's clinical trials.
Yes, clinical trials that are exploring gene therapy and stem cell.
Like what I want you to do today, how can we answer the question for any kind of retinitis pigmentosa patient? Like, what's my case? Is there any hope? Like, how do you answer it differently today for those patients?
You know, I think it's to stay informed and be aware of what trials are coming up, because trials will be in a, you know, first stage, which is a safety stage. That stage, you know, they're not really looking at, maybe it's not the right dose and so on. They're just making sure it's safe. But you could enter that, and it could be possible that that new treatment could be amazing for you.
Okay. When we talk about clinical trials, we're talking about stem cells therapy or
any treatment,
medication?
Any treatment which is either, you know, biologic, which is some kind of a pharmaceutical agent, or whether it's gene therapy, which is a surgical process to go in. I mean, it's part surgery to go in and to actually do some gene splicing. That's a whole other category. But both of those avenues have to go through FDA. They have to go through very, very careful review.
4 phases of...
And what you don't want to do is go to somewhere that says, we have stem cell therapy and it's not through a trial, because that means they may be taking it from some part of the body, but it may not belong in the eye at all. And so there have been some cases of blindness just from having
Would you say this one more time? Not every stem cell therapy, we just ran to it.
Yes, so stem cell therapy is getting so much, you know, media and so on, but you have to be very careful, especially when vision, that you don't just go to a clinic that says they have stem cell therapy for RP or for any eye condition, actually. There really isn't anything approved at this point. And so that means that anything that's being offered is taking stem cells from your own body and then doing something with it and then putting it in the eye. And
thank you so much for clarifying that, because it's very important. التهاب الشبكية الصبغي أو الريتينايتس بيجمنتوزا أو اللي بنسميه الأشر سيندروم، والحقيقة أستاذ هاني كان بعت لنا سؤال على ده. الشيء السيء جدا في الحكاية دي إنه الدكاترة دايما بيقولوا للبيشنت مفيش أمل، القصة واقفة، وزي ما بنقول إنه أشر سيندروم أو الريتينايتس بيجمنتوزا بيبقى بيحصل معاها فقدان في البصر وفقدان في السمع كمان. الحقيقة زي ما قال الدكتور كامر النهاردة، الأخبار الكويسة إنه في ستيم سيل ثيرابي ترايلز، كلينيكال ترايل موجودة هنا وفيها بيشنتس ويعني شغالة، ففي أمل في الموضوع ده. كمان مش كل واحد عنده التهاب شبكية الصبغي، أنا آسف العربي بتبقى صعبة شوية، الريتينايتس بيجمنتوزا أو الأشر سيندروم، إنه كله هيتأثر بنفس التأثير، بتعتمد على الجينات وبتعتمد على درجة تأثيرها في الجسم، فمش كل واحد هيبقى زي التاني، فما نقدرش كل مريض نحطه في نفس الباثواي أو نفس الشكل بتاع الريتينايتس بيجمنتوزا أو الأشر سيندروم أو التهاب الشبكية الصبغي. مش كل الناس هتبقى زي بعض. دكتور كامر كمان حذرت مش كل إعلان مكتوب عليه ستيم سيل ثيرابي نجري عليه، لازم يبقى تحت كلينيكال ترايل، ولازم يبقى كمان يعني FDA approved إنه يبقى في الباثواي، إنه يبقى منظمة الصحة والأغذية العالمية موافقة عليه، والكلينيكال ترايل دي معتمدة. We have another phone call from Oregon. هناء، اتفضلي حضرتك على الهواء.
عليكم. سؤالي أنا كنت لمدة شهرين عملت عملية، كان عندي ضغط عالي في العين، كان حوالي 21 و24. فالدكتور قال لي ان اعمل الميه البيضاء، فعملتها من مده شهرين. دلوقتي الضغط عندي 9 و10، 9 على العين اليمين و10 عين الشمال. وعلى طول يعني بعد العمليه الدكتور شافني يمكن 3 4 مرات. القراءه جيده جدا من غير نظاره. كمان نظري على بعد كويس جدا. عيني بقت طبيعيه جدا جدا.
ده بعد الكاتراكت سيرجري؟
ايه اللي اعمله
بعد الكاتراكت سيرجري
كده يعني؟
بعد عمليه الميه البيضاء حضرتك عملتي عمليه ميه بيضاء مش كده؟
عملت عمليه بعد لما لقيت الضغط عالي عملت الميه البيضاء. بعديها الضغط نزل من 21 و24 بقى 9 و10، 9 على اليمين و10 الشمال. ونظري دلوقتي من غير نظاره القراءه وعلى بعد ممتاز جدا. والدكتور شافني 3 4 مرات. ايه اللي اعمله بعد كده يعني؟ في حاجه مطلوبه ان انا اعملها؟
Okay. Her intraocular pressure was 21 and 24 subsequently, right and left, and she did cataract surgery, went very well. Intraocular pressure went down to 9 and 10. Even reading got better, everything got better. She's asking if there is any precautions can be done in the next future.
You know, so when your pressure goes down after cataract surgery, that's a fantastic outcome, you know, and hopefully that means that the pressure goes down and that the damage that's happening to the optic nerve is also lessened. And the fact that she had vision improvement is probably from the cataract itself, not because glaucoma was actually, any damage was actually reversed. So the cataract removal, it gets really fat and larger when it's maturing. And so being able to take it out sometimes, that can help the glaucoma. It's not all the time, but that's sometimes the case. So that's great for her.
Does she need to follow up any precautions?
She should still follow her glaucoma specialist just to make sure, because even though the pressure is lower, sometimes we can have low tension glaucoma that's still affecting the back of the eye, and they just need to do those visual field exams and do their other testing just to make sure. So don't stop going and listen to that doctor.
مدام هناء من أوريجون اللي بعتت السؤال، زي ما دكتور كامر قالت إنه شيء كويس جدا إنه ضغط العين بتاع حضرتك نزل ل9 و10 زي ما حضرتك قلتي، ولكن طول ما فترة ضغط العين كان عالي أكيد حصل شوية تغيرات للعصب البصري، فقالت إنه شيء رائع جدا إن ضغط عينك نزل، ولكن لازم متابعة دورية مع العين، لأنه لو حضرتك متابعانا من أول البرنامج قلنا أحيانا إنه الجلوكوما بتحصل أو المية الزرقاء بتحصل حتى لو ضغط العين طبيعي، أحيانا بتبقى تريكي شوية، فمهم جدا إنه رقم 1 حضرتك تتابعي مع الجلوكوما سبيشالست اللي حضرتك تروحي له. رقم 2 إنه لازم دايما نعمل الفحوصات اللي هي العين فيها بتبقى بتوسع العين، لأنه ده مهم جدا إنه حضرتك تتابعي، لأنه زي ما قلنا إنه لا قدر الله أحيانا الجلوكوما بتحصل حتى لو ضغط العين طبيعي، والفترة الطويلة اللي ضغط العين كان بتاعك عالي أكيد العصب البصري يتأثر بنسبة أو بأخرى، فمهم جدا إن حضرتك تتابعي وما تبطليش تروحي للدكتور حتى لو كل حاجة اتحسنت وربنا معاكي. We have another phone call from California. بدور. اتفضلي حضرتك على الهواء يا فندم، اتفضلي.
دكتور هلا.
Hi. What's your question for Dr. Kammer today?
دكتور عندي سؤال.
Sure, اتفضلي.
الدكتور تنصح بقطرة مع المرطب أخلي بالعين، أخلي قطرة للعين، تنصح بها أو لا؟
معلش يا فندم أنا ما فهمتش سؤال حضرتك، لو حضرتك تسمعينا من التليفون عشان الصوت دبل. إيه السؤال تاني بتاع حضرتك؟
بتعب عندي، تنصح بقطرة مرطب أخلي بعيني يعني كويس لو لا؟
Okay.
ما تنصح بها؟
She has eye dryness all the time. Do you recommend any kind of eye drops for eye dryness?
So eye dryness, it's an interesting thing. It wasn't on my list, but it tends to be, you know, this thing that happens along with these other diseases or conditions. But eye dryness can break up the tear surface of that front part of the eye and can create some blur and so on. It's not low vision specifically, but it is something to be managed. There's so much that's changed in terms of dry eye treatment. So I recommend finding a doctor, an eye doctor that specializes in dry eye specifically, because it may be that it's simple artificial tears, but usually it's a more complicated issue with the mucus layers, or maybe even an immune response. And so there are ways to manage that, but I would say go to a specialist first.
مدام بدور سؤالك كان عن جفاف العين إذا في أي قطرات للموضوع ده. زي ما دكتور كامر قالت، في اللي هي الارتفيشال تيرز أو الدموع الصناعية اللي بتبقى موجودة في أي صيدلية، ولكن حضرتك ممكن تستخدمي ده، بس مهم جدا إنه حضرتك تشوفي بأخصائي لجفاف العين. في ناس بس بتبقى بتتعامل مع الدراي آي عشان لو في أي أسباب وراها. I have another question. 37 years old male. Every time he looks at his phone, his eye gets painful and it becomes dry. So,
you know, the use of computers and tablets and all of that, you know, screen use. There's a question about, you know, whether blue light is really affecting and so on. And there's some interesting studies out, and, you know, nothing necessarily conclusive about it being extremely damaging and so on. We should watch it for sure. But I would say that's probably more from even keeping his eyes open too long, and back to the dry eye scenario. So if he already has dry eye and now you're concentrating quite a bit, the other issue is that he's 37. Once we get to about 40, we start to need reading glasses.
Okay.
Because that lens inside the eye is not as flexible, and so it doesn't do as much changing shape and focus for us. So he could have what we say either early presbyopia, or he might be a little farsighted and need glasses a little earlier.
Okay. And again, if this hurts, don't do it, right? Like,
well, that's not going to happen. They're still going to look at their phones.
الحقيقة كان معانا سؤال كمان. شاب 37 سنة كل ما يبص للتليفون بتاعه كتير عينه بيحصل لها جفاف وبتوجعه. زي ما دكتور كامر قالت إنه برضو فكرة الدموع الصناعية أو الارتفيشال تيرز من الصيدلية ممكن تبقى حل. كمان مهم جدا انه دايما لما بنوصل لسن ال40 بنحتاج نظارة قراية بشكل عام. ممكن في سن حضرتك تبقى محتاجها بدري شوية وحضرتك عندك 37 سنة. كمان مهم جدا ان احنا نشوف برضو متخصص لجفاف العين بشكل عام ونشوف السبب ورا ده. At the end, thank you so much. It was very informative. Time flew by.
Yes.
With a promise for another episode to go over low vision
rehabilitation. Yes. What do we do now? That's the big question, and there's a lot out there.
It was very informative. Thank you so much, Dr. Kammer.
You're welcome.
الحقيقة أعزائي المشاهدين الوقت عدى بسرعة جدا، ما لحقناش نناقش كل الأسباب، ولكن هنعمل حلقة تانية مع دكتور كامر، واحدة من أحسن الناس اللي بتتكلم في مواضيع اللو فيجن أو ضعف الإبصار. بنشكر حضراتكم على التفاعل وعلى حسن المتابعة، ونشوفكم في حلقة جديدة الأسبوع الجاي إن شاء الله من وايت كوت.